Hi, my name is Scott. As some of you may know, I got to make a movie called Animal Crackers. The following is a conversation with Huey Lewis, from Huey Lewis and the News, right before my film came out in 2020. I thought it'd be fun to revisit the conversation, but with me doing a live sketch of sorts. Please excuse my poor audio. It was my first time ever doing this, and I now have a better mic and whatever. Anyways, please leave me a comment. Let me know if you like this sort of thing, and I'll make more. I got to meet a ton of cool people, and I kind of like this. But anyways, just leave me a comment. All right. So I thought we'd start at the beginning, which was our first call. I remember Andy Ross, our music supervisor, set it up. And to go back, I remember when I first met Andy, who had done previous movie he had done was a movie called Whiplash, which was a great jazz musician movie. And he asked me for musicians that I'd like to work with. And you were at the top of the list. You literally were at the top of the list. And I think it was 3 days later, I was on a phone call with you. And, you know, as someone who grew up with your music, I was just stunned. You were just fantastic. And I think it was maybe a few days later that we sent you the script.
Well, yeah, I remember, I guess, Andy, I remember you or hearing of you and then talking on the phone with you, and you said you'd written this film, and you know, you thought about us and you were a fan and so on, which was really neat. So we got on the phone, and I remember you telling me about the project, and it sounded very interesting. And then guess you sent me the script, and I read it, and it was great. And you showed me a little artwork, which was fantastic. And so then then you said, yeah, I'd like to I wonder if you could write something for the film. And I said, and then I remember, because we had just written While We're Young and cut it as a demo. And I was mad for the song. And I remember trying to convince you that sometimes it's nice when a song and a film go together tangentially and not exactly. In other words, you don't rewrite the film in the song. Yeah, and as Power of Love was Back to the Future, and so on, and trying to convince you of that. And you said, well, great, whatever. And I remember I sent you the song, and you said, wow, you loved the song, and it sounded great, but yeah, but you wanted to think about something that would maybe be more, you know, like for the film, right when like it for the film. And I said, okay. And then I put my thinking cap on, and I began to have an idea. And then a couple days later, you called me and said, you know what? I can't get this thing out of my head. And I said, good. That's good, because I think it'll work.
It was.
That's how I remember it anyway.
Yeah, that is exactly how it went. And it is still, to this day, one of the most embarrassing things of my life, that you sent me a song that you sent me while we're young. And I had in my head The Power of Love, something, because I was thinking at the beginning of the movie, something to get people, you know, going. And I just, why would I ever think of saying this isn't the right song, you know? But it was just creative.
Well,
My first.
yeah, no, I mean, lyrically, it wasn't obvious. It wasn't obvious, so I get that part, you know.
But
it wasn't obvious, but you used it well.
Oh, thank you. No, but it stuck with us. I mean, we listened to it and kept listening to it, kept listening. We're just like, this is just such a good song. And there was just a point in time, and this was my first movie. I'm a first-time director. I had to say, okay, this isn't the song that I want to hear. Where else in the film could I put it? And then it was the love triangle between Bob,
Right.
Talia, and Horatio. And I said, oh, this is where it fits. This is perfect. And it just all came together. But I just didn't have the experience to know this is a great song. Find another place for it. I was looking specifically. I needed this
Right.
type of song, this type of thing. But I'm so glad that you were patient in that, because that was just it's just perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah, it works great in the film. I think it's great.
Yeah, it really
did well. So that's good.
Thanks. I remember you were touring and you came out to Nashville, and we got to meet you for the first time. I think you had either a lawyer or a manager or somebody with you at the time, but and yeah, I think the thing that surprised me the most was you took the time to read the script. You took the time to, it wasn't just a transaction for you. It wasn't just, hey, you know, you want a song here, pay us this much. It was, I read the script. I really love the script. You knew you were asking me questions about the movie. You were asking me questions about it. And that really resonated with me and Donna. It was amazing.
Well, I love the script. It was a great idea. You know, it's a great idea, Animal Cracker. It's just a great idea. And then again, it was well implemented, and it's a beautiful film. You know, so we were nuts right away when I saw the what footage we saw early and so on. And I remember our meeting in Nashville was great. I had my agent. Actually, I was Danny Weiner, who's my agent, and
Okay.
he was knocked out. And you guys were so pleasant, and it was just a perfect. It was like one of those things that's very genuine,
Yeah.
which doesn't happen a lot in our business. But it was a very kind of a genuine connection, and felt really good. Felt even better about the relationship once we'd met. You know.
Yeah, yeah. And speaking of genuine, that's another thing I found with you, was you've done everything you can to follow up, to call me from time to time, to email me, to check in on the movie, because the horrendous experience we had getting the
Right.
film out. It's been 6 years, this process,
Yeah,
and
and unbelievable.
it's
Unbelievable.
crazy. But you've been so patient, but also supportive. You call me up, you leave me voicemail messages, you
Well,
check.
because there's a long list of great films that have been turned down by everybody, a long list of great songs that were passed on by everybody before they became hits. So, you got to take everything with a little grain of salt in this business, as you know. And this is your first film, so and you're so attached to it. It was really cute, but that's the way things go. You need to persevere, and and you did, and congratulations. Now the world's going to get to see your film finally.
Thanks. One of the funnest experiences that Donna and I had was flying out to Los Angeles from Nashville to do that Warner Brothers screening, and we actually got to screen the film to you and some of the cast, and some of the other musicians, for it was in the same theater, same screening room that Mel Brooks screened Blazing Saddles to the executives, and but just having that like we're on a movie set, we have the whole screening room to ourselves, and we're watching our movie, and you actually sat with Donna and I, and it was just an amazing experience to sit and watch it with everybody who had a hand in making it, and we just wanted to thank you again for doing that, because that was just.
And we were knocked out, all of us. And the neat part is to see the song live in your film. It takes on new meaning with the film, and that was really neat. Songs are interesting things. They come from somewhere, the muse somewhere. You get the idea, and then the idea is to be true to the song and produce it that way. And then some of them just get up and fly, and some don't, and they mean different things to different people. And it was wonderful to watch this song take on a life of its own, and aided mostly by your film. So it was really fun. I mean, we originally wrote the song. John Pierce, our bass player, and I originally conceived of the song in my little condo in San Diego. He brought his little recording equipment down. We only had two parts to the tune, what was now the B section and the chorus. And I wrote the lyric and sang the melody, and we just made a little recording of that. And then Johnny Cola, our saxophone and guitar player, heard it and liked it and added a third part of the verse to it. So it was very much put together piece by piece, this song. And we've made records and songs all kinds of ways in our history, and sometimes we just all play them live and capture those performances, and sometimes they're put together piece by piece, and this one was put together piece by piece, so much so that we actually retained some of the original vocal that I cut in my Condo, While We're Young. Some of that is from that first, demo. So,
Really?
and then we put it all together, and Bob Clearmountain mixed it, and he's a genius, and it came out real well.
Oh, it is amazing. It is amazing, and and I'm sure you've heard this. It's classic Huey. It really is.
Yeah, it's been very well received on our album. I mean,
Yeah,
the record's been incredibly well received, and not just in this country, oddly enough, in Europe especially, which is
really.
rare for us because we're a very American band,
Yeah,
and most of our records, it didn't do that great in our early stuff didn't do much at all in Europe until Power of Love, which is our first sort of international smash. Most of our songs weren't that popular in the rest of the world. But this latest record, I was just on a promo tour about a month and a half ago in Paris and Berlin and London, and it's doing very, very well overseas. Interesting.
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well,
And
I
I
mean,
think the film should too, by the way.
I hope so. I mean, it's going out to almost 200 million people around the world.
Yeah, and it will, because it translates. It's a really heartwarming story, and you can see it right there. And there's no barriers to it. I mean,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
works in any language. It's great.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Sony Music soundtrack. We got Queen and Toad the Wet Sprocket and Howard Jones.
Yeah, but the other songs are great in the film too. By the way,
It really is.
Toad song is great.
I
Really,
it really is so fun. And we even got Ian McKellen to sing. He did
yeah,
a duet
right.
with Godfrey. I mean, I don't even know how we did that. Having listened to the song, I dare say I've probably heard it as many times as you, because between seeing it in the movie so many times and doing the music video, it is.
You probably have, actually. You probably have.
Yeah, I mean, for probably 1,000 times that I've heard it, I still sing along every time. I still, I mean, and I've worked on projects where you have music and you're just like, okay, I just can't hear the song anymore. It has not hit yet. This song is still
Yeah,
fantastic.
I honestly, I tell people, and I honestly believe it's among our best work. It really is. It's as good as we do.
When I was in art school in San Francisco in 1990, I took an internship at Sega, and that's when I did 16-bit video games. I got to learn about that. And so it was 30 years later, here I am doing something with my 17-year-old son, and we put together the music video. One of the things that was fun was talking to you about basically your career and your life, from starting in New York, going to San Francisco, your baseball, you're getting your first gigs, et cetera, et cetera. That was just a lot of fun. I got some of it from Wikipedia and the rest of it from you, but it was really fun to just, kind of follow your life along and kind of see it. I mean, I know it was in a video game kind of form, but was it a little jarring or weird seeing yourself as a little baby, kind of walking through and growing up and going to college?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. It is a little shocking when you see it all laid out in a cartoon, but you got it basically right, and it's and it's interesting, because I don't really focus on what I've done or what I'm going. I'm pretty much in the trying to stay in the moment kind of a guy. I'm not a collector or any of that sort of stuff, but I must say that looking at the video, I realized, yeah, I've been around for a while, and it was kind of refreshing to see that. It was kind of neat.
One of the sections was obviously the USA for Africa, the We Are the World. Going back and watching that video, you're right in between Michael Jackson and Cyndi Lauper. Watching that, I mean, because that was it 35 years ago? I think it was in the mid 80s.
Yeah. Was it really? Wow. You're
watching
right.
that brought back so many memories, but also we were making this in the time of a pandemic, a global pandemic. And
right. It's nice that you included the bit about USA Forever, because that was an unbelievable evening, of course.
Yeah.
And when you think back, it was one of the first times that a bunch of artists got together for a common cause like that. I mean, that had nowadays, of course, it's quite common, especially in the pandemic and the Zoom calls and all this people ganging. But before that, we had never done that. And you know, that group of people, you wouldn't be able to meet those people in a lifetime because we all work at different, you know, we're all on different stages, literally, not, you know, on different stages every night. So you would never get to meet those people, let alone work with them. And in one evening, we all met each other. It was just an incredible evening, and there'll never be another night like that. You know.
Oh God, I know. I mean, my son and I, as we're creating these little cartoon characters of Bob Dylan and Bruce Springsteen,
right.
Tina Turner and Hall & Oates, and it kept going. Michael Jackson kept going on and on and on.
Yeah,
and
it was an incredible evening, and you know, Quincy told everybody, you know, check your ego at the door, but of course, no, there weren't any egos. Everybody was just on, you know, their best behavior. You just looked around and couldn't believe it. I remember one really neat thing was the first after we sang the chorus. We all sang the chorus the first thing we did was the chorus, and they had everybody standing on these platforms. We all sang each line in unison on all the harmony parts. And Stevie Wonder was there and Ray Charles. And after we got done with the chorus, which took a couple hours, we took a break, and then it came time to do the lead lines. And so Quincy assembled all the lead singers, duets, and we gathered around the piano, and Stevie Wonder played the piano. And we sat around the piano and we just did a trial run as we went. Here comes a time when I need a certain call. Lionel starts it off, and we went around. And I was standing by the piano so that I could see Stevie and his facial expression as he played the piano.
Yeah.
A lot of people were in back of him. And as everybody started to sing, Stevie Wonder figured out who all they were, because he's blind, so he didn't really know who all was there. Until we went that first pass, and he heard all the voices as he's playing, and he just went, whoa, so many stars. He went, wow, this is great. And he was just blown away with it. And I'll never forget that first pass when we went through and we heard what each guy sounded like on that line around the piano as Stevie played the piano. It was, I'll never forget that. My hair stands up just thinking about it.
Oh, that's amazing. That is so amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's clearly it's cartoonish and it's small and everything, but net when you look at it, I've had quite a, I've been a very lucky guy. I mean, the net of the whole thing is, in spite of my hearing woes and all the latest trials and tribulations, I'm still a very lucky guy. And it's important to remember that there's the hearing thing is tough, but there's lots of people that are a lot worse off than I am. So
yeah,
I try and look on the bright side.
That's a great attitude. One of the funny little things you might notice in the Animal Crackers level section is Gwyneth Paltrow, because we were originally going to do the duet segment. We just ran out of time, but I still love that song.
Cruising, yeah. Larry, and interestingly, Larry Klein produced that, who's a bass player, great bass player, married to Joni Mitchell for a while, and a great producer. And he did a great job in that song. It's a Smokey Robinson song.
Okay.
And but he did a great job. And Gwyneth can really sing. I mean, she blew everybody's mind with her performance.
I still listen to that every once in a while. It was just such a good song.
It was a really big record. It was, unfortunately they released the film and the song at the exact same time, which was a big mistake. They should have released the song, because the song went to #1. It was AC Song of the Year, got more radio play than any other song that year.
Really?
And they should have released the song and let it promote the film, leave it out there for a couple of months, let it climb the charts, and then release the film. And I think the film would have done a lot better.
Yeah.
But which is what they did with Power of Love and Back to the Future. People don't remember that, but Power of Love was #1 when Back to the Future was premiered.
Really?
So they were smart enough because we were a big deal back then, and this was our new song. So they released the song, and it takes nine weeks is the shortest time a song takes to get to number one in those days. And so they watched it, and as it got to number one, then they released the film.
That's amazing.
And Zemeckis, we just did a Zoom call on Back to the Future, and Zemeckis remembers how that from wrap to release was 9.5 weeks.
Really?
And that was the fastest any film ever got edited and put out there in ever. And I reminded him the reason that was because they released Power of Love, and it was climbing the charts. And they said, this thing's going to be number one next week. We got to get this film out there because this song is going to be number one in 9 weeks. And that's why they hustled everything up. And the week it was released, the film Power of Love was already number one.
And I remember you telling me, let the first one go.
You got to give the first one away.
I give the first one away, and
I mean, it's just the way it is in this business.
It's hard. It's hard to do, you know.
I know.
But, you know, I let it go finally, and you know.
And working for a living is one of ours. You know, we had to give that away, and I always working for a living is one of the best songs we'd written, and I watched it crumble. You know, because bad timing and all that. But it just happens. This stuff happens. You know.
Yeah. Well, Huey, thanks again, man. I really appreciate it.
It's good going, and you know, I can't wait till the film comes out. It's going to be really exciting, and you'll have a ball tracking it, and it'll be really fun. I mean, it's all A-list people. I mean, those are the best voices in show business right there.
Crazy. It really is crazy, you know. And it was amazing meeting them and working with them. But musicians take nothing and they create music. They write, they're able to do that. And that's how I feel as an artist. I'll take a blank canvas and I'll paint, or I'll take a blank screen and I'll write a screenplay. And I just connected more with you or guys from Toad or Howard or Michael Bublé. I connected because you guys understood the need to create. You understood when you do create something that you're happy with, how hard it is to let it go, and how hard critics, you know, hurt, and how much you crave just some positive feedback on something that you know comes from your heart, you know.
And really interestingly, you know, a lot of these songs, at least for me, the song comes as an idea, and the idea is to stay true to that idea. You've heard it completely in your head, but capturing it and putting it on in the digital domain is a different animal altogether. It tries to get away from you, and then you got, oh no, that ain't right, and boom, and now you have to figure out the bass part, and now you got to work on the track, and now when we get the beat and the tempo's got to be right, and the feel's got to be right, and now the progression's got to be right, and now the arrangement's got to be right, and now and any one of these places, it tries to get away from you. So you have to stay true to that vision, and you have to be very critical about that, and very, very serious about that, and try and sometimes it's impossible. Sometimes they just get away from you, and sometimes it just works out, you know, and you just have to the more you do it, the more you realize that it's pretty much up to the muse, and you kind of got to just listen to the song and let the song tell you how it wants to sound, how it wants to be produced, what instruments it wants to be played with, and what kind of a vocal it wants, and that kind of stuff. You know?
I think that's the case with all art. Is there's a feeling, there's a story you want to tell, there's a feeling you want to, and I felt that with the movie. Sometimes people would say, well, you should do this or this character do that, and I couldn't explain why, other than I just don't feel that that's the right.
Right.
That's not the right feeling. It's the same thing works with a painting. And then the technique, the technical stuff has to try to see that, help it come to life. But the whole time, it's like your heart is guiding you to see that. And I would say, for me at least, 50% of the time, at least with my art, 50% of the time, it happens. The other 50% of the time, my talent, my technique couldn't produce what I would.
It's pretty hard to be as good as it is in your mind.
Yeah,
that's the problem. You see the whole thing, and now we got to capture that.